and welcome to this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us. Now, more for a word from this week's sponsors, the attorneys at Ambo Chase and Associates LLP. If you've ever been in an accident or find yourself needing help getting what's owed to you or just in legal hot water, check out the lawyers and wide range of legal services offered at ambochase.com. So, Tammy, there you go. If you ever need legal assistance, just check out our lovely sponsors.
I hope I don't need that kind of assistance, but okay.
They
Thank you,
also,
sponsor.
hey, you can't be saying that about our sponsors. You know, the checks. We need the checks
I would
coming back.
hope that I would not be in an ambulance and need to call a lawyer.
Well, they also offer other services. You don't know, you might get caught up. You might need help, legal help or illegal help. Never mind. Um, so this week, for this week's episode, we take a ride aboard Michael Bay's ambulance starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as two brothers with a complicated history who sign up for what is supposed to be a simple heist until everything goes to shit and they end up jacking an ambulance with an injured cop on board as their escape vehicle. So, Tammy, what did you think of Ambulance? Was it DOA or a shot of adrenaline?
And a shot of adrenaline from beginning to the very end. Like, I just felt like it was action, action, and more action. Like, I enjoyed it. What about you, Eddie? Because, I'm really excited to see what you thought of it.
I'm gonna agree. Like I was telling you a little bit about the circumstances in which I went to watch it, and I wasn't feeling well, and I was kind of sleepy, and I thought, okay, once I got to the movies, during the previews and stuff, I felt myself nodding. I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be one of those movies. And then when it first came on, I'm like, okay, what is this? And then it's Michael Bay, so it's gonna be action packed. It's gonna be guns and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, all right, I kind of knew what to expect. And then just based on like some of the reviews, which I try to stay away from reviews, especially for stuff I know that we're gonna end up reviewing. And just some of I'd seen the ratings of the on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm like, okay. So I'd heard just different things about it, but when I went in, I thought I was going to end up falling asleep, and I did not from beginning to end. From that time, it really was like a shot of adrenaline because I felt like crap. I was tired, but I was fully engaged and awake for like the whole movie. So it is definitely much better than what you guys have heard. And I it was great. And the thing that made it so great to me is I loved the chemistry between the aging very well. We were talking about aging like Clooney. Jake Gyllenhaal is in that aging like Clooney category to me. He is like a fine wine, just gets better and better with time. That mug is still sexy as fuck. Let me just say that. And yeah. But I love the chemistry between them. Like I would love to see them do another movie together, like a cop film or but a cop film or something like that, where they have to play partners or whatever. They just had amazing on-screen chemistry. And obviously they're not biological brothers, but you saw how they really truly felt, um how they had that relationship. So I loved it. Yeah. So what did you think about their chemistry?
Oh, no, I thought it was amazing. I think, like, I will say that I think Jake Gyllenhaal played crazy white dude so well.
So well.
So
So well.
Like,
Yes.
this was his role. You know what this kind of reminded me of? What came up to my head when I'm watching how amazing he was in this role? Southpaw. On like how like emotional he was and how he went through like just a whole bunch of stuff and raising his daughter in Southpaw, which I love that movie. I love that movie. I think that was like that the transformation for him for that film was just so different from anything else I had seen him in previously. And this was the same way. Like I was just like, yo, this is the perfect role for Jake Gyllenhaal. Like I couldn't see nobody else playing this role but him. He was perfect for it. And I agree with you. Their chemistry was phenomenal. Like how whenever somebody kept talking about how y'all ain't even real brothers, and it would just make them so mad. Like you could tell like the bond that they had went beyond being blood. Like it was just absolutely phenomenal. Like I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and that's what he played crazy white dude with a passion. Like, he was like, and they say that everyone deserves to, and we don't see him play the bad guy that often, you know. So this was, and he he lived in that role, and it was just like you saw him be that social slash psychopath to where he owned it. Like his character owned who he was. He gave no shits about anyone or anything in this world except for his baby brother. You fuck with his brother, you fuck with him. It's a whole nother level crazy when it comes to his brother, you know. Um, and it was one of those. I can say shit. I can talk shit about my brother. I can be the one that want to kill my brother. You come try to do something to my brother. Oh,
And
that's your
it's a
ass.
wrap. It's done.
It's like that's it. You know. And so it was just like you saw him. You didn't see him playing a character in that moment. It was like wow. So yeah, he fully embodied that character and the crazy of that character. Um, and I loved Yaya. Like you saw the struggle of yeah, this is my brother, but I'm trying to be out of this life. Like um, I joined the Marines specifically to escape this life. And you get the idea that his brother, that Jake, I forgot the name of his character, but
Was it Danny?
yeah, Danny, that he let him go to protect him from their crazy father, who was Danny's biological father, who they say was even more batshit than Danny. I'm like, oh God, he must have been really insane because Danny was out there. Um, so it was just like the one thing I didn't like though is I didn't like his wife.
You didn't like his wife?
No, I thought I understood her purpose. Like she was the whole reason for William Yaya's character. The whole reason why he went through with it. He was trying to get the money for her surgery, which we never knew what was wrong with her, but we just know she needed surgery. But I didn't like how they made her so naive. Um, and I get it. When you know when your husband or your partner is lying to you. You know, and I was just like, what? So that to me, I didn't like how weak minded and how naive they made that character. She still could have served her purpose, but she could have had more of a backbone, especially when he called her on video. And you're telling me she didn't hear Danny going off in the background, you know? So it was just things like that. Like, so I guess to me, I just didn't like, I understood her purpose. I understood why she was there. I understood that, the role that she was supposed to play. I just think that they made her too weak and too naive considering everything that was going on. Like you understood once you met Danny why she didn't want her husband and Danny, why she didn't want her husband having anything to do with Danny. I get that. But everything else, I was just like, really?
I considered both female characters to be the weakest link of the movie, actually, which I hate saying, but I wasn't even a fan of the oh my god, what's the job called?
The
Paramedic.
EMT?
Oh, the EMT. Are they not called a paramedic as well? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
either or.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of hers either. So yeah, I could have done without either one of them. I mean, granted, I understand her role. I understand, like, taking her hostage, helping to save the guy, the cop in the ambulance. Like, I definitely get that. But personality wise, like, she just did not sell it to me. She did not sell the role to me the way that like Jake Gyllenhaal did, or Yaya did, or I don't know the name of the guy who was the chief of police.
Oh, Garrett Dillahunt.
Yeah, like he sold it as well with his friggin' big dog. Um, but yeah, but they sold their roles to me. I don't think she sold her role to me.
Yeah. I yeah. I actually liked Isa Gonzalez. She played Cam Thompson. I actually liked her. I understood, once you understood you
Hold on, a little bit of a drama thing. Isn't she the one that Liam Hemsworth cheated on Miley Cyrus with? You don't
I
know about
don't
that, do
know.
you?
She may have been, I don't know.
I think she was. My bad. I never knew what the girl looked like, but okay, go ahead. My bad. I apologize.
But I think that so I understood her character a little bit more. I especially when you understood what she was running from, why she was the ice queen and why she, the way she operated and the way she functioned. I got that. But yeah, the wife, she didn't sell it for me. Like I said, I understood her purpose, but I did not particularly care much for her role or the way they wrote her role. Um, so that was probably one of the weak links to me. Also, I think that, when they were shooting the scene by the LA River, they could have did a better job of disguising the stunt dude because the stunt dude looked nothing like Jake Gyllenhaal hanging out the ambulance. So, yeah, they could have done a better job with that. That's just me being nitpicky, but it was like it was obvious that that was not Jake Gyllenhaal hanging out the ambulance shooting at the helicopters. So, but other than that, back to what we were really discussing. I loved the the chemistry between them. Um, and it you really got a sense of it when they were in the ambulance fighting, just like hitting on each other.
Going back and forth.
Yeah, and it was just like, will you stop? And then when they were singing Sailing, when he's like, no, give me one, give me one, give me one. And then they start singing Sailing all off key together. And she's like, they're fucking crazy,
That was
and
their
just
brotherly bond.
yeah. So like I said, their chemistry was off the charts. It was really, really good. And like you said, you got the sense of that they had been through a lot together and that Danny had always been William's protector. And you saw the struggle with William trying to do the right thing, to stay out of that life, to support his family, but it wasn't easy. Especially as a veteran who came home and was treated like, hey, you didn't just give up your life and all of this for us. And, but like I said, the job should have been easy. And then you have this wayward, lovesick cop who comes into the bank. And you understood why he let him into the bank because it would have been a bigger deal if he did not. Um, but then that's when it all goes to shit. Um, well, I guess when they shoot the cop, it really, really goes to shit. So, what else did you like about the movie?
Um, so I like the continued, like I said, action, more and more action. So it was like non-stop. I will say like one of my favorite scenes is when they go to, oh my God, what do they call him? Poppy?
Hmm.
Poppy and they're like, okay, let's go. We leaving them. And William's like, we're not leaving them behind. No, no, no. We're gonna leave them. You're good. We're not leaving them behind. And he's like, all right, well, sorry, brother. Like, we in this. And he was like, and then Poppy was like, I mean, just leave him. Like, he's not even really your brother. What you just say? All right, we got this. And just killed them. And I was just like, why you open your mouth? Like you was good up until you open your mouth. Now you gonna die. Um,
Hmm.
so it was like those scenes where he showed that he really was dedicated. And the whole thing was getting him home to his wife and kid. That was his whole thing. Another thing I liked was the fact that um, Danny was a genius. If only he had applied himself in different ways, he'd have led a whole different life. But when the FBI agent was talking about him, basically saying like he's a genius, like he is very, very, he thinks out his whole plans and everything like that. And you know how they always say that it's a very, very thin line between being a genius and being a psychopath. And you can go either way. And he just happened to go on the psychopath part, and his dad did as well. But both of them was on that edge of both sides.
Yeah, I think it was more of a nature and nurture thing. It maybe if only he'd had a different upbringing, and then he may have made a great FBI agent or whatever. I don't know, but because when they were like, "Well, why was he there?" and they were like, "Oh, he was there to study us." His dad made him go through that criminology program to study us, and it was like, um, but yeah, I also loved Castro. He was one of my favorite characters played by Wale. Castro was an idiot, but he was so funny.
You mean the driver?
Yes, the one who was like, "I'm watching soccer. It's called football. It is the world's game." All right, boss, the flamingos. He's like, "Okay, I got the flamingos to paint." No, do not bring the flamingos. Just
Just
bring
break
the
the paint.
Turks and Caicos. And then they were like, and then he's like, neon paint. He's like, I told you blue paint, but this is all I had. He's like, you're stressing me out. It'll be okay. And then he was like, why are you painting the window? How am I like, I loved Castro.
He was so nervous that he was just like, I'm just doing it all. I'm just doing it all.
And then when he was like, and he said, well, here's your 10 G's. If anyone stops you and asks you why you're driving the ambulance, you don't know. Why would someone ask me that? Huh? He's like, I don't know. They would just go. And he's like, okay. But then when he gets stopped, he comes up with this whole story. See, my sister, I was just like Castro was an idiot, but he was ride or die. Because when he got stopped, I just knew he was going to spill the beans. I knew he was just going to tell off. But he was
No,
just
he
like,
kept it to himself.
so yeah, I loved Castro. I love Wale as a rapper, but I loved him in that role too. I don't know if that was his acting debut or what have you, but I do love Wale. So, and then Poppy was played by the great A. Martinez. I love A. Martinez. I'm a huge fan of his.
You know where I
Uh,
remember him from?
what?
No Hospital, right?
Yeah, for a little bit. He got his start in soaps. He started off in a soap opera called Santa Barbara,
Okay. I knew I was right.
and
That's where I
then
remembered him from.
I think he did also do a stint on General Hospital.
He did, because
But
he was matched up with Bobby for a minute.
oh yes, I remember that.
Yep, it was him and
Yeah,
Bobby.
yeah. So I love A. Martinez always, always. I also love the lady who was in charge of the mobile command unit. She was funny.
Oh my God, yes.
Her sarcasm was off the charts.
Like there was
She
no raising of the voice or nothing like that. Like it was just monotone the whole time, and she did a great job at it. I guess that would be the one female that I felt like really served her purpose.
Yeah, she was amazing. I loved her. And I loved Captain Monroe and his big dog. And I hate that I wanted Captain Monroe to live. Like normally, when you have these anti-hero movies, a part of you kind of wants them to get away, but you know that they can't get away because of what they've done is so bad. And then, so it's kind of like you're feeling, but I loved Captain Monroe. I hated that he met that end. Like I liked him. I liked him you know most of the time when you have cowboy cops, they come off as just assholes, and you don't want them. It's like, damn it, where the cop actually kind of turns into the bad guy and makes you more sympathetic to the anti-hero. But in his
Mm-hmm.
case, I actually liked him for who he was. I loved his character. He wasn't too much of a cowboy. He had a job to do, and he was going to do it, and you could see that he was damn good at his job. And
Like
so,
he thought it out. He wasn't just reacting to what was going on. He really tried to think it out.
yeah, and he wasn't just after a bloodthirst, like, oh, they're fucking criminals. They need, it's like, okay, it's like, I have to get my cop back, whether he's dead or alive. I want the body. Now, when he thought he was dead, it was all bets are off. But then when he knew he was alive, it was like, okay, so our main goal is to get him back. And you know. And that was the thing too. It's like, okay, if we go into jail, like, and the mindset I got, let me know if you felt this. I felt like even if Danny realized that maybe they couldn't get out, the reason he didn't want to kill the cop is because, hey, if we don't kill the cop, even if we go to jail, like he had it was something to me that where he had an escape plan even for them to get out of jail, you know. But he knew that if they killed the cop, there was no escape plan. If the cop died, there was no escape plan. There was no getting out of jail.
Well, he said in the very beginning when William shot, like, we don't shoot cops, like that's just not what you do. And
And
then
it's
when
too
he
much heat.
yeah, and then when he shot him, and now he has to figure out a way out of it. I think it was just how much more danger they would be in, and we saw what the danger would be if the cop died. So it was like, we have to keep him alive, because if we don't keep him alive, our lives are going to be way worse when we are caught. And they showed that when they thought that the cop died, like you said, and it was all bets are off. Like he knew that, and I think that plays into how he thought ahead. Like he was steps ahead, like he could try to like figure it out. Like when William was talking about what they used to do in the military, and the whole time he's just letting him talk, and you see like he's thinking of it. And he's like, okay, I got a plan. Okay, I got a plan. Like that's just how his mind worked. Like he knew how much worse their life was going to be if the cop died.
So, and then also I like you know, like I said, you were kind of suspect on whether or not he was going to take William out. It was like you kind of got the idea that, hey, if anyone had to take William out, it was going to be him. He wasn't going to let his brother die at anyone's hands but his own. And so I was like, ooh, is it going to be a standoff? Because it was like a standoff between them about whether or not they should let Cam, the EMT, and the cops stay, or with Poppy and his cartel and basically get murdered. Because we know that there was no way if they stayed with Poppy and the cartel, they weren't coming out of that alive. So, or if you take them with you, and so, and like I'm with you, it was all it could have gone either way until Poppy said, "Leave him too. He's not even your real brother." Oh shit! And it's like you saw the
Mm-hmm.
light switch. You
You knew it was
saw
coming.
you saw the light switch, and so he was like, and at first it was like, what did you know, you respect me because when he didn't say anything about it, it was just like, oh, so he is going to let him. But then when he kept saying, when he gave him that little speech, is like, you want to go right, I want to go left, but it's okay, we should both go left. And he looked at him, he's like, we're both going left. And it was just like, oh shit. I was like, god dang. And then he's like, he is my brother, and I'm like, oh fuck.
That's the one thing that was his one weakness. His
And
one
then
weakness was his brother.
because when you saw when he because all bet again another point where all bets were off is when William got shot, and he it was like fuck it, he drove him straight to the hospital, like, and he knew that, okay, if he did that there was no getting out, and he was at that point he was willing to die, and he was going to take whoever he could. And I'm like, you dumbass, why the oh, and I guess she did it because he didn't want him to shoot a cop, because when he was like, when he saw the gun and he's like, this is what shot my brother, who shot my brother, and she was like, I shot him. And I was like, oh shit. But yeah, it was I was like, okay, so that was truly ride or die. He was gonna ride or die for his brother. He didn't give a shit about anything or anyone else but his brother. So, um, did you have any other particular scenes or characters that you liked?
No, I just think that it was worth going to see it in theater. I really didn't have high hopes. I was like, you were the one who said you really wanted to do this movie, and I was just like, like I don't know, but I was definitely pleasantly surprised on how good it was and how much I enjoyed it from beginning to end. So yeah, I mean, for my rating, I'll definitely show it, but I would definitely suggest that everybody goes and sees Ambulance, and if it's too late, then wait for it to come on TV and watch it. You will not be disappointed. It was really good. Forget all the critics and what people saying because they're idiots, but it was really good.
Well, you know why I want to see it, right?
For Yaya,
Yeah, for Yaya and Jake, like the eye candy in here alone was worth it. Like, and the two of them together, I was like, oh my god! Like, Jake Gyllenhaal is on my DiCaprio list. I've become a bigger fan of his. It's rare that he makes a movie that I don't necessarily like, and he does some weird shit. Like and I love that he rarely does the same movie or plays the same role twice. And I love that he takes chances with the roles that he plays. So I'm always interested to see what Jake Gyllenhaal will do. He stays true to his indie roots, he stays true to his Broadway roots. He's just a very versatile actor, and I love that in him. And like I said, he's on that aging like Clooney list. Like he's aging really, really well. So I'm a huge fan of his. So he's one of those actors that I will try to definitely make it a point, even if I don't get to see it in the theater. I will always make it a point to try to see something that he's in, because usually, even if I don't quite understand it or necessarily like it, I get the role. Like I'm like, okay, so I know that it's going to be interesting. Yaya is moving up that list as far as actors with a diverse portfolio, and he's actually, besides the eye candy, he is actually a really, really good actor. And he came on my radar with Watchmen. And I've been a fan ever since. And so I think that was actually his breakout performance, or his breakout role was when he was in The Watchmen. Um, and if you have not seen The Watchmen, I highly, highly recommend it. It is really good. It's on HBO, HBO Max. Stream it, the series. But yeah, so those were the two main reasons. It was just good. It was supposed to be an eye candy type thing. Plus, like I said, it's Michael Bay, so you kind of know what you're getting. Action. It was actually well written for a Michael Bay movie. The dialogue was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was better. It was so. I will agree with you. It was definitely much, much better than I thought it was going to be, based on my initial reasons for wanting to watch it, which were kind of shallow.
it was worth it.
So it was. What are you giving it?
So I am going to rate Ambulance a 3.75. I thought it was really, really good. It's action packed. Just for Jake Gyllenhaal alone, because I'm telling y'all, he plays the best crazy white dude I've ever seen. Like he just embodied that role. So I thought it was action packed. Yeah, and I would definitely suggest that everybody goes and sees it. What about you, Eddie?
I also gave it a 3.75. Great minds. For it was a 3.5, but then I thought about my eye candy stance. For the eye candy alone, it's worth that extra quarter bucket of popcorn. But also, you are right. Jake Gyllenhaal did a phenomenal, phenomenal job playing the crazy white dude. I was like, "Ooh, you need to play the bad guy more often." He did really, 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 really fantastic job playing that part. And there's it was a little flawed, but it's a great movie. If you want to watch a good action packed movie, you don't want to have to think too much. You just want to chill out and watch a good movie. Then I would highly recommend Ambulance. And like she said, if it's too late, then wait till it comes on streaming, and check it out. But yeah, it's definitely worth it. It does. It meets that quality action threshold.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other closing thoughts about this week's Joyride, Thrill Ride?
No, ma'am.
All
Go
right.
see it in theaters now.
Well, that does it for this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify Podcasts. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels. See what I did there? Ha 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 ha. Of pop culture goodness at the popcornwinddown.com, the new and improved Popcorn Wind Down. Please check the website. And the daily wind down will be making its return soon, also new and improved. And we have some other great features to check out. And you can also catch up on any episodes that you may have missed, all there at the popcornwinddown.com. Again, that's it. That's the plug. Still don't have my sound effect, but you know.
Pop, 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 pop.
Uh, Thank you as always. And be sure to join us next week when we discuss. Tammy, did we ever decide? Dr.
No, we
Strange?
did not.
Well, we're just going to say stay tuned for the mystery. We might even have another um, extra butter coming for you soon. We haven't done one of those in a while. So we're just going to say stay tuned for the mystery episode coming next week. And until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.